The Koenig Connection. A film by John Spence and Reinhold Marxhausen. Written and narrated by Joan LeBaron. Interstate 80 stretches some 500 miles across the state of Nebraska. Each year, thousands and thousands of people drive the highway, traveling from coast to coast. Looking outside car and bus windows, they see an apparently unending stretch of Great Plains farmland, broken only by an occasional town or rest stop. This rest area, outside Seward, Nebraska, conceals a surprise for the weary traveler. A von Ringelheim sculpture, The Arrival, sits in a grove of trees behind the rest area. It serves as a silent testimonial to passers-by to look beyond the obvious and find the subtle beauties of Nebraska. Like the unexpected treasure at the rest area, the traveler can find another surprise about 10 miles away. Concordia College, a small Lutheran institution on a 120-acre site in Seward, has become one of the foremost leaders of art in the state. This school of only 1,000 students features 3 major outdoor sculptures, a permanent art collection made possible by a unique professor, and countless murals and paintings located in nooks and crannies across the campus. Lest the traveler think that art is safely surrounded by academic walls, he should walk across the street to the St. John's Lutheran Church or stroll downtown, where the local hospital, banks, and even donut shop are adorned by artworks of all kinds.
Oh, pretty good. How about you? Yeah. No.
We look like a couple of...
Seward's new Civic Center features the Langworthy Gallery, where each month works of different Nebraska artists are displayed. As one artist suggests to the campus or city visitor, don't try to understand the art. Just enjoy and marvel at it. He's Reinhold Marxhausen, who came to Concordia over 30 years ago as its first full-time art professor.
Art is a very difficult subject to understand, as is most of the things in the world in which we live. And instead of trying to understand the things we don't understand, maybe we ought to marvel and wonder at this wonderful world in which we live. Each person looks at a work differently. The artist might have an intent when he does the work, but each one of us comes from a different experience, and so it's impossible for each person to see the object in the same way. And so the object doesn't change, but the people say different things about it. When you discuss the work, all these different words come out. And so we're beginning to understand each other rather than the piece. And the piece becomes a catalyst for us to understand each other. And if we listen to each other, we learn something about ourselves rather than the piece.
This community's love for art began with Professor Henry Koenig, who taught world literature and art appreciation at Concordia from 1923 until his retirement in 1958. When he wasn't taking care of his invalid mother, the professor collected paintings, lithographs, vases, ceramic pieces, and sculpture. He never owned an automobile, never married, but spent all his spare time purchasing art and sharing his finds with friends and students. Professor Koenig bequeathed his collection of books and art objects to the college, and it became the basis for establishing the Koenig Art Gallery, initiating an art department, and ultimately encouraging original artistic works on campus. The Holy Spirit, a soaring cement Bible, was the first major sculpture on the Concordia campus. It was completed in 1960 by Professor Marxhausen.
This is the library building, and it's right in front of the campus. When they built this building, they wanted to put some artwork on the wall. And I suggested that they do a piece which is away from the wall. And so as the sun moves from the east to the west, it would be a wonderful play of light on this form. And it's appropriate that we use a symbol of the Christian's most important book, the Bible, as a symbol for this art form. This piece of sculpture is very strong and powerful looking, yet it's very graceful. It's a symbol of strength and peace for those who read the Bible. This book was made in a very interesting way. It was cast in cement in the earth itself. We shaped a book form in the earth, and then the cement was poured into the form, and after it set, we lifted it out of the ground and put it on this pedestal. And I spent a whole summer just making this thing. It was really a very ambitious project, and it was very rewarding to be able to do something this big and have it work.
The centerpiece for the Concordia campus is a magnificent cast bronze sculpture, Christ Frees Us, by Paul Grandland of Gustavus Adolphus College in St. Paul, Minnesota. It serves as a reminder of Concordia's commitment to the arts, as well as an object of beauty for all who pass by.
It's spring and Easter every day on our campus with this wonderful, positive sculpture. And this is the center of our campus. It really feels good to take the cast off of a broken arm or leg and to experience a feeling of wholeness once again. And that's what this piece of sculpture talks about. The base of the sculpture is a circle, perfectly round, and it represents eternity. And over here are these wonderful footprints, which represent God stepping into time and space in the form of Jesus Christ to live and to suffer and to die and to rise again for mankind. And over here you can see kind of a symbol of a cross, and these depressed sections represent death, and they look like casts, body casts. And this whole three-dimensional form here represents resurrection and a new life. And I think the whole sculpture is made of blocky fragments that emphasizes breaking out. It's like spring when little plants grow out of the ground. And the play of light on these blocky forms changes every day. So here's this object in the middle of the campus. It's always there, but it's never the same.
Another sculpture, God the Creator, was commissioned for Concordia's 75th anniversary. The artist, Arthur Geisert, is remembered as the young student who bicycled from California to Concordia. He's now an internationally known printmaker in Galena, Illinois.
This piece called The Creation is made out of hammered lead. And over here you can see the words from the narration of the creation from the book of Genesis. It's interesting that the piece of sculpture which represents God the Father is tucked away here by the music building on the edge of campus. God is not hidden. It is we who hide him. And when we do that to creation, we rarely notice it, and we take it for granted, and we need to be more and more aware of the wonders of these wonderful insects, plus all the magnificent things like the galaxies and the stars and the mountains too.
Art at Concordia is much more than 3 sculptures. It ranges from Bob Arneson's Expressionist ceramic to the Rauschenberg multiple that adorns the president's office, to student-created murals in the campus center. And it's found in the most likely and unlikely spots on campus. It's not hidden behind closed doors in musty museum rooms. It's open for students, faculty, staff, and visitors to find and enjoy.
Art in Seward started at Concordia College with a collection of Professor Koenig, and it could have been just an academic kind of experience. We could have just had an exhibit somewhere in the gallery and just had exhibits from time to time. But by now, over the years, I think it's permeated into the community, into the church across the street, and I think there's art for just about everyone in Seward, for the old and the young, in the hospital, the banks, Daylight Donuts. There's art for the farmers and the workers in the offices, and I think that's nice that it's available to everyone who wants to see, and that they don't have to make a special effort to go to a special place just to see art. And that makes me feel good to realize that what Professor Koenig started many years ago has permeated the whole community rather than being something that's just part of the college.
Memorial Hospital is an excellent example of art in the community of Seward. Hospital officials decided to remodel their lobby in 1976 with a dual purpose in mind. They wanted to personalize the lobby, make it a more inviting place for patients and visitors alike, and introduce people to a variety of art forms. The results are a showcase for the Concordia faculty. A Marxhausen sculpture, a stone carving by Don Dennison, prints by Richard Wegman, and a William Wolfram collage. And for those who don't frequent the hospital, there are Seward's two banks. Several years ago, the Cattle National Bank commissioned a series of paintings to document the area's grain elevators, some of which have since been torn down. The new edition of the Jones National Bank features a Marxhausen mural, Investment.
Farmers and bankers need each other, and there needs to be investment of money and seeds and soil. Nebraska has a lot of space, and space is depicted in this mural by the fact that it's not flat, it's a curved surface. And as you go from left to right, the four seasons are depicted. In the center panel, the lines are vertical, and that's where all the action is. And the top circle represents the sun, and the green part is the center pivots. The third part represents the seed, and the bottom metallic form represents a coin. The materials are made out of formica and glass, and the brown section down below is made out of wood. Since it was a curved surface and since the pieces are small, it had to be done right here in the bank, and so I spent 2 months in that space putting all those pieces in one at a time.
Throughout history, religion and art have been intertwined. As Reverend Jonathan Stein of St. John's Lutheran Church explains, every art piece is a silent sermon. Music, the word, and art fit together to give a message to the people. And much of the art at Seward's largest place of worship has been created by Concordia's faculty. Concordia College and the town of Seward are rich repositories of art. Murals, paintings, sculptures are part of the community to elevate and entertain all who pass through.